Act 3, Scene 1. Here we go.
Thou hast it now, King Caldor Glamis, all as the weird woman promised, and I fear thou place most foully for it. Yet it was said it should not stand in thy posterity, but that myself should be the root and father of many kings. There come truth from them, as upon thee, Macbeth. Their speech is shy. Why, by the verities of thee made good, may they not be my oracles as well? Set me up in hope. Hush.
Okay, so in one version of the play, that gentleman was our Banquo, and by Act 3, Scene 1, he is realizing something is a little shady about this new king. He is king, he is Thane of Cawdor, he is Thane of Glamis, he has everything, just as the witches promised him. And this line is important. I fear thou played most foully for it, right? Because that is indicating that Banquo doesn't trust his friend and thinks that he probably was the one behind the assassination. But he also acknowledges that if what the witches told Macbeth came true, then Banquo should be pretty excited because it was said, it should not stand in thy posterity, but that myself, Banquo, should be the root and father of many kings. So, ooh, this is interesting. Banquo's now realizing that if Macbeth became king per the witches' predictions, then Banquo's children will also become kings per the witches' predictions. So if there come truth from them witches, as upon thee, Macbeth, their speeches shine, they told him the truth. Why, by the truths on you made good, may not my oracles be truthful as well and set me up in hope? And he says, but hush no more, because we hear Macbeth and Lady Macbeth are entering as now king and queen, and Macbeth doesn't want or Banquo doesn't want anyone to overhear what he's saying and be suspicious of him. So that's not very wholesome on Banquo's part, because he seems to know a little bit of information that he doesn't seem like he's going to be willing to share, because he's waiting for his moment to shine. Macbeth then enters with Lady Macbeth and points to Banquo and says, here's our chief guest. And Lady Macbeth acknowledges that he is an important guest. Banquo is an important guest. If he had been as forgotten, it had been as a gap in our great feast and all thing unbecoming. Like, what a mess it would have been if they hadn't acknowledged Banquo and if he wasn't there. He's a very important component to their little, new royal family. And Macbeth tells Banquo that he's having a dinner party and would like Banquo to attend. And Banquo says, let your highness command upon me, to which my duties are with a most indissoluble tie forever knit. So he is committed to Macbeth at this point, and command me to come to dinner, I'll be at dinner, is what he is saying. Then Macbeth goes off on like a different tangent, asking Banquo if he's going for a horse ride. And Banquo acknowledges that, yes, my lord, I'm going for a horse ride. And Macbeth seems disappointed by this. He would have liked to have Banquo's advice and counseling at a meeting that he was having with all of the important people in his realm. And he also says that the meeting would involve discussions on topics that are both grave, which is an interesting word choice, and you'll understand why later, and prosperous, which for Macbeth, anything involving kingship is going to be prosperous. But he goes back to the horse ride and says, is it far you ride? And Banquo acknowledges that it's going to take him a bit of time, like he'll use up the rest of the daylight hours as far as we'll fill up the time between now and supper. Unless my horse goes fast, I might become a borrower of the night for an hour or two. So maybe if sun sets at 6, and unless his horse rides fast, he might not get there back to the castle for dinner until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And Macbeth kind of warns him, do not miss my dinner party. And Banquo says, I won't miss your dinner party. I got you. Now, Macbeth goes on to talk about the bloody cousins who are bestowed in England and Ireland. And we know that that is our Duncan's sons, Malcolm and Donalbain. Donalbain fled to Ireland, and Malcolm fled to England. And an easy way to remember that is DIME, D-I-M-E, Donalbain, Ireland, Malcolm, England. And Macbeth says they are not confessing their cruel parricide, but filling their hearers with strange invention. So we can assume from that that Macbeth is suggesting that they should be confessing their guilt, but they're not. Instead, they're telling strange stories, which most likely involves Macbeth himself and how Malcolm and Donalbain are suspicious of Macbeth's involvement in the king's death. And they are on point with that, let me just say. And Macbeth says, get to your horse, goodbye, until you return at night. And then he asks about Fleance. Remember in an earlier video, I told you that Fleance's name would prove to be verbal irony? Well, hold on to your hats, kids, because that's still to come. And Macbeth says, yes, his son is going with him, gotta go, the clock's ticking, I gotta be out of here. And Macbeth says, I wish your horses swift and sure of foot, and so I do commend you to their back. So he's basically like, safe travels, catch you later. And after Banquo leaves, Macbeth makes a big public announcement to everybody who's standing there, let every man be master of his time till 7 at night. So go do whatever you want to do until 7 p.m. And that obviously is when the dinner party is going to start. And then he said, to make society the sweeter welcome, he and Lady Macbeth, will keep to ourselves until supper time alone. So just to make a dramatic entrance at the dinner party, he and Lady Macbeth are going to go into their own chambers for a little while. And he tells everyone, God be with you. And everyone leaves except for Macbeth and a servant. And one of the names that they would refer to servants as is Sirrah. Sirrah, a word with you, attend those men our pleasure. So apparently there are some men waiting outside to talk to Macbeth. And the attendant acknowledges, yes, there are men outside waiting to talk to you. And Macbeth says, bring them in. Now this speech here is a pretty important speech because Macbeth's starting to get a little bit nervous. He's worried that maybe people are suspicious of him. And one person in particular who he's concerned about is his dear old friend, Banquo. So he says, our fears in Banquo stick deep. So he is concerned about Banquo. Oh, to be thus is nothing but to be safely thus. So it doesn't matter if he's king unless he's safely king and doesn't have to worry about anything. But he has a ton of worries. And he says Banquo's royalty of nature, in his royalty of nature reigns that which should be feared. So that would suggest that he is a stand-up guy. And if he suspects Macbeth, he will act on that. So Macbeth is worried about that. And he says, 'tis much he dares, and to that dauntless temper of his mind, he has a wisdom that guides his valor to act in safety. So that is just a reiteration of this idea that he is a smart guy, he's no dummy, and if he thinks that something needs to be done, he will handle it in a brave and clever way, a way that protects Banquo, but still takes down his enemy. And Macbeth continues, there is none but he whose being I do fear, and under him my genius is rebuked, as it is said Mark Antony's was by Caesar. So we're making a historical reference here, but he is afraid that Banquo will undermine him and ruin his kingship. And then he remembers that when they were talking to the weird sisters, the witches, Banquo chid the sisters, asked the sisters, when first they put the name of king on Macbeth, he then turned to them and said, hey, yo, what about me? Talk to me. And they then told him that he would be father to a line of kings. Prophet like they hailed him, father to a line of kings. And so Macbeth sees that what they told Macbeth was true. So that means, oh my God, maybe what they told Banquo is going to be true as well. And to make matters worse, he says, upon my head they placed a fruitless crown and put a barren scepter in my grip, thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, no son of mine succeeding. So what does that mean? His crown is fruitless because he doesn't have children right now to pass that crown down to. But Banquo has children. So Macbeth's scepter, you know, what kings hold, you can imagine King Triton with this little trident, it's barren. He is barren with no children, and it's going to be wrenched by an unlineal hand, someone who is not in Macbeth's family line. If it be so, for Banquo's issue, for his children, have I defiled my mind. For them, the gracious Duncan, have I murdered, put rancors in the vessel of my peace only for them. So he defiled his mind. He basically sold his soul. He killed his cousin, who was also the king. And now he can't live in peace. And he did all of this for Banquo's children. Bad decision, he's thinking. Mine eternal jewel, and his eternal jewel here is his soul, given to the common enemy of man. The common enemy of man, you might have guessed, is Satan. That's right. Satan is the common enemy of man. So he gave his soul to Satan to make Banquo's children kings, the seed of Banquo kings. And so he challenges that. He's like, I challenge that. Rather than so, come fate into the list and champion me to the utterance. And then he's going to fight this. He's going to try and outplay fate. And I'm sure you can imagine how well that's going to go. When he tries to outplay fate, it's not going to go well. So then the attendant returns, and the next characters to arrive on stage are described as two murderers. So they're not even given names. They're just, you know, your average everyday murderers. And Macbeth tells his attendant to go wait outside the door until he calls. And so begins his conversation with these two murderers, in which he's going to talk to them about the idea of murdering Banquo. Stay tuned for part 2.